First story. Is it cheating? So it started few days back when my girlfriend went back to her university, which is at least 6 hours drive from my house. Anyways, my girlfriend makes this new friend. I didn't had any issues with it as two had many friends of opposite gender. But keep in mind this guy's walks in our life when our relationship is the most difficult it has ever been in 6-7 years. And I could not particularly talk to her during this time as I had personally family issues, which were major and which my parents basically split, and she knew this as few days back she came to visit me during her holidays, and told her all this back to scene. This guy gifts her flowers and present which she never accepted from anyone except from me, but this time she does this guys. Tells her how he has never talked to a girl before and gives this excuse as he gifted her flowers and gifts. He won't even say that she is a friend to her. They start to talk and spend long walks during the time she and I weren't talking properly. I mean, we were talking every day but not properly. Later in time she gets an idea that this guy likes her and I tell her to cut off her connections with him. But she doesn't. Later a friend of this guy comes to my girlfriend and tells her that this guy likes her a lot and talks only about her. Even after that she doesn't stop talking to him. One night when there was a thunderstorm outside her uni, she texts me and tell me, and I quickly within seconds text her back that not to be bothered by it and she should sleep as it won't harm her as she is inside her building. But when she texted me this at the very same moment she texted this guy too, and she doesn't even see my message but text him and talks to her, and even says on text that she wished if he was there by her side. Same day that guy tells her that if he had a chance he would have married her, and to which my girlfriend doesn't react to few days later, like 4 or 5. When I heard this I tell her to either be with me or him, and she cuts communication with him, as of which keeping in mind they used to video call each other 4 in the morning and share photos with one another. Later she gave me few screenshots of chat through which this. All this was just one day of chat and they've been chatting for 1 month. When I told my girlfriend to keep those chat and not to deleted them as she was coming to meet me in few days, she deleted the chats by justifying it would have made me mad and misinterpret her intentions in chatting. Also she tries to justify all this as I was not giving her time as I was busy with my family and assignments, and with that I too have female friends, and I click photos with them and eat food with them. Now I DK if she still talks to that guy in uni, and just delete the chats when she comes back home. Also while chatting with this guy she one day tells me out of nowhere that it's better to date guys which are young in age to their girl. Noticing how that guy was 1-2 years younger than her, she said this was her friend's advice. Not the guy but some other female friend of hers. But goes on to argue with me as I was saying that age doesn't matter. IDK if it's cheating or not or just seeking attention. Also she said to me that she talked to this guy and a guy before him just to make me jealous, and it was a payback since I have female friends too, but with none have I had this sort of conversation, or never have I deleted any chats with them unlike she did cause I had nothing to hide. Now I DK what to do cause this doesn't leave my head, and I'm not able to focus on anything. All those screenshots come back to my mind even though she deleted them moments after I read them cause I had a panic attack while I was reading them and I had to call her to tell her not to send more cause I wasn't able to read as I wasn't able to breathe. Second story. How do I leave this relationship? I 32 meters and my partner 34F have been together for almost 2 years. Everything is really good besides the fact of one of guy that she clearly is emotionally cheating on me with. Context: this guy is in a 5-year relationship with his fiancée. My GF and him have been friends for a long time, but he suddenly came back into her life again after me and her had our first big fight. Also he has a private Twitter with the only follower being my GF. I got around to looking through her phone one night to see what he has been posting on her Twitter since everything he does is hidden. Not only are their DMs deleted, But under her pictures he always asking for more, sending things like heart eyes. She can be very playful with her word choice. So I've seen a few times that it looks like flirting. Clearly she lacks respect for me. I've low-key been distancing myself from her for a few months now. But I keep on the same facade as I always have. I actually confronted her once about this guy, and she offered to let me look through her phone. Which I know now why she has been deleting the chats between them. Note my girlfriend is pretty attractive and gets some attention online. But she posts about me frequently, all good things, and post pictures of me. I'm not worried about the creeps or whatever. I already know if I confront her again, she's just gonna deny it. The last time I did, I expressed it weirded me out, and sounds like he's obsessed with her. She clearly entertains him at the bare minimum. I just wanna know if I should get her to tell the truth so I have closure and can leave. Or do I just leave her without saying anything as our relationship is perfect outside of it? Third story. Opened my GF's Snapchat. Regretted that. We have been together just over 2 years now. My GF has always said how her ex would regularly check her phone. I've always responded with that's crazy. She always said she didn't mind, because she wasn't up to anything, so there was nothing to find. One day, my GF had gone shopping and forgotten her phone. I see it but leave it alone. Then ding, ding ding, what feels like a million notifications come through. I pick it up to see the notification previews, but she has her privacy settings on, and then I regretfully decided to open her phone. Most of it was okay apart from Snap, where there's an ongoing chat with her ex, different person than I mentioned earlier. This had explicit photos sent both ways saved in the chat, and looking at dates, I can see a lot of them were from before we were together, and the more recent chats have seemed less sexual. But I took issue because I wasn't aware they were still talking. Plus, scroll up a bit and it's dick pics and dirty talk. What's awful is that I knew her ex was a well-hung guy. Now I've got the actual image of it burned into my memory. Which is my own fault, I know. Maybe my insecurities got the better of me, but I'm not sure how to bring this up with her. Fourth story. My girlfriend F22 cheated on me, M22, and blamed my reaction even though I stayed calm. Now I'm feeling guilty about cutting her definitively off my life and don't want to start missing her. I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years and a half. Our relationship always had highs and lows. All this because she didn't move on from her narcissistic ex who played with her feelings. The moment I started dating her, 2022, I didn't know about her past and didn't know she had an ex until he came back into her life. She started acting weird, and I could directly feel that I was not the only one for her. I asked her several times about him and she told me a little bit of their story, and I was too dumb and trusted her. But a month later I decided to break up with her because of the same thing. Several months later we got in contact again. Basically, she reconnected with me. And because I loved this girl for about 5 years before we got together, I thought that she was the one, and that finally she saw that I was the one too and chose me. So I gave her a second chance. But this time it was even worse. We were spending beautiful times together, but I noticed that this man came back again into her life. I started noticing that she was trying to make him jealous. And it was working for her. The guy tries to play her, but gives her all his attention only when he sees her happy without him. At the end of the year, after struggling so much with her, she lied to me on a lot of things. I gave her several chances. Not because I was weak or desperate, but because I was mature enough to listen to her and tries to understand her. And I thought that by seeing this she would choose me, and at that moment we never communicated deeply. She was always telling me that she wasn't comfortable doing so, so I respected her choice. I wished her the best, explained all my feelings to her, and told her that now she could do whatever she wanted. I would just block her and move on with my life. She didn't like my decision but respected it, until 1 month of no contact. Now just to give you the context, during the no contact period, I worked a lot on myself and noticed that I was insecure and needed someone to validate me. So I fixed all these and started living happily alone. She came back by sending me an email. I didn't want to respond to her but still didn't want to have the image of the weak guy who still didn't move on from a girl because she kindly destroyed his poor heart. I responded to her. She started talking to me again. I wasn't interested in her anymore but she seemed to be, and seemed to have learned her lesson, and wanted to make things work between us. At first, I didn't care about her, but she started making good efforts, like buying me gifts, or even organizing a surprise birthday for me. Just to clarify things, I did this to her and even more last year, when she was lying to me. So I started believing that yeah, she really changed and is probably the right one. So I started giving her attention too, and one day when we were dating, she opened up totally and explained her feelings towards me. She said that she always saw me as the perfect one for her, and that she loved me and wanted me as her husband. And the reason she was behaving like that in the past years that she always needed the other guy's attention because of her ego, and wanted to make him regret his decision when the time comes, and also told me that she is still talking to him. I tried to be understanding and supported her, in the way that she didn't deserve him fooling her years ago, but still told her that this would lead to issues again, and told her that this time it was our last chance, as it was hard for me to trust her anymore, and told her that if ever one day she will see him, she has to inform me, just so I won't be surprised, and I know what to do with my life. She agreed with that. During this beautiful date, we have never been closer, and when we got back to our homes, she sent me a message thanking me and telling me that I opened her eyes to so many things. We dated only a few times after that because of work and things, but lastly, she proposed a meeting. I did my best to be able to see her, but in the end, she canceled the date. I told her that I was going to play tennis, and it would make me happy if she comes for like only 5 minutes just so we could see each other. She said that she probably won't be able but inform me. When I finished my training session, I called her, and she was surprised that I didn't finish my session earlier. I asked her if she could come and she told me that she wouldn't be able to, so I respected her choice. While quitting the zone, I found her car. I was so happy because I knew that she was about to surprise me. So I approached her car all happy. She directly hid herself by putting her face down, and in the front seat, there was her ex. I was shocked because all her life she always told me that she will never let a man seat in her car, nor will she seat in a man's car because of standards and stuff, and I've always been respectful and never forced things. Her ex started laughing diabolically when he saw me, knowing that I had been fooled. So I just decided to go back home without telling her anything. But then I decided to go back to her and give her a chance to explain herself. When I got back, her ex got out of the car with her phone on his ear. I went in front of her. She didn't want to see me and was angry towards me, as if I shouldn't know the truth having her phone on her ear too, talking to him. I asked her calmly and respectfully 3 times to open the window, and was about to tell her that she can do whatever she wants, I won't be mad or heartbroken. But she didn't wanted to open it, so I just continued on my way. While on my way, she called me. I denied her call. So she sent me a message telling me that I had no right to talk to her in that manner, while in reality, I stayed calm and gave her a chance. So I got a little bit angry, and told her that she definitively destroyed our relationship, and destroyed all my trust in her and any other future girl. By angry, I mean telling her real things and not trying to fix them. Not yelling at her or telling her unrespectful things, and still I talked with a calm tense and tried to listen to her. She started playing the victim card, telling me that it wasn't her intention, and that she was hanged out with him because he needed her support because of his GF. He doesn't have one, and kept making it worse by lying even more. She also begged me to not block her even if we won't talk anymore. I directly blocked her after the call, didn't want to listen to her lies, and decided to directly move on. That night was hard for me. I couldn't sleep because of all that happened and all the lost future we were projecting. So the day after I started feeling pity about her, I sent her a message telling her that I was ready to discuss things for the last time just to have a clear and respectful ending, and she didn't answer. My question now is, was it the right choice? I mean, of course it is, but how could I move on without missing her after cutting her off definitively? And how could I stop feeling guilty about returning to see her and talking to her when I caught her, plus not giving her a chance when she started lying? I know these could be silly questions, but I'm really deceived and I feel lost. Also, just to give you context, I was always giving her princess treatment, always respected her, always paid for her, and always tried to make her happy, but was still focusing on my life, my future, and important things. Which means that I wasn't focused only on her and had my own lifestyle and my own friends. She always acted lovely, she was always sending me love reels, and always told me that she becomes jealous when she sees me talk to other friends' girls. And I always solaced her by telling and showing her that she is the only one I love and care about. Also, she always acted interested in me. All her family knows about me and tease her about me as her future husband. And she always told me that it makes her happy thinking about it. Thanks for your time. Fifth story. Girlfriend cheated while I grieved. My girlfriend 21 left me, I'm 24, after 4 years of relationship. Our relationship started back in 2020 before COVID hit. During COVID everything went well. We used to spend time together, go to the beach house, etc. I thought to myself, I'm a lucky man. We were not the type of relationship that were on-off. We never broke up. We had discussions, but we always solved them by communicating with each other. Fast forward 2023, one of my family members passed away unexpectedly, so I had to travel to the US for the funeral. While I was away, she told me that her best friend invited her to the beach to celebrate her birthday. The best friend. I didn't think about it too much and said, sure, go with your friends. Just because I'm grieving doesn't mean that you have to grieve too. So she went. During 2023 I lost in total 4 family members, 3 that were close to me and 1 that wasn't. She knew how much I was suffering. I suffer from severe clinical depression since I was 15 years old. I always struggled with self-esteem and self-love. So Christmas comes. My family decided to take a trip to the US to clear her mind. But she couldn't come since she didn't have a visa, so we were not together for the holidays. We would always talk during the day and before we went to sleep. On New Year's she was at a party at a hotel. At midnight she called me saying that she loves me, misses me, blah blah blah, and we hung up. I come back to my country the following day and arrived super late, so I couldn't visit her on January 1st. So I went to see her on the 2nd to give her all the presents that I bought for her and her nephew. Everything seemed normal. On January 3rd she calls me out of the blue and breaks up with me. Tells me that she thought I was the one, but it was over. That she felt that I was doing everything right because she was changing me. Said that my parents are too strict and that I joke a lot. I was just surprised and devastated. Thought that I was the problem. All the progress that I made over the years was just gone. We were talking for about 2 weeks after the breakup, but eventually she became super rude and I decided to give her space. Went no contact. On the first week of February she posts a picture on Braille with a guy AP kissing her at 3 a.m. at his apartment. My friends sent me the picture. I broke down. I had never experienced depression like it. I had to go under ketamine therapy to pull me out of the depressive hole. About a month later, March, I saw her best friend. She told me that they fought because of what she did to me. I was like, TF? She then told me that when my ex went to the beach with her, she made out with a random guy for the whole weekend. And that for New Year's, after she hung up with me, she went and slept with this new guy AP. And that my ex's mom saw everything and didn't say a thing. They even dropped her mom off at her house, and my ex went and stayed at the guy's apartment. So she broke up with me to start her relationship with her AP. I just feel absolutely destroyed, betrayed by a whole family. It's been months and I still feel like I'm worthless, replaceable, that are just trash. Been going to therapy, I take depression meds, but out of the blue I just start feeling miserable. All the things that I used to like stopped making me happy. I am afraid of going to certain places because there's a chance that I'll see her or her family there. My friends told me that she lost me, that I did not lose her. But how can I believe in that sentence, when my self-esteem is just fucked? By the way, I'm still no contact and deleted her phone number, deleted her from all social media and threw away everything that she gave me. Please, I need advice on how to improve my self-esteem after getting fucking rammed by this experience. Thank you. Sixth story. My husband had an affair and said he liked her better. I just need a place to share our story to where someone will hear it, rather than just shouting it inside my head all day long. I have almost no friends or family I can be this vulnerable with, so I thought I'd give the entire internet a go, anonymously. Here it goes. My husband and I have been married for about 10 years. We had 4 little kids, all under 6. A little over 5 years ago, my husband confessed to me that he had a serious porn addiction he had been hiding from me for our entire relationship. His confession felt like a trapdoor opened, and I fell through it as he explained each and every lie he had been telling all this time. It was an uphill battle to rescue our marriage after all of that deceit and betrayal. He went to a 12-step and truly turned things around, and has been sober ever since a few months into his journey. We really did recover from that time and our trust has been repaired. We set fresh boundaries with opposite sex relationships and really put up hedges of protection around our marriage. Fast forward to about 8 months ago. He confessed that during his addiction, he also sought out and frequently returned to old porn pictures of his close female friend. They are no longer friends. As I mentioned earlier, we changed that up. When this came up, I asked to see his old messages with her, and as it would appear to me, they had a full-on emotional affair. In addition, him viewing these pictures, whether or not she knew he was looking at them isn't known because they never talked about that, but hints were dropped. They'd have long text conversations and hang out all the time. She worked at his office. They had lunch together every day just about. She was very openly flirty with him and rude toward me. They talked about all sorts of things and clearly had a close emotional bond, as well as some flirty moments as well. And then the pictures he intentionally searched for and found from a previous porn shoot she did years before that he was viewing all throughout this inappropriate friendship. Of course, that part is one-sided, but still. Of course, when he told me this, I was devastated by this and instantly went to a place of comparison. Keep in mind that this woman is an ex-pornography worker and I am just a freshly postpartum stay-at-home mom of 4. I asked my husband, in a desperate pursuit of something that may make me feel better, if he liked me better than her. Side note, sorry in advance for all the side notes, haha. My husband has diagnosed OCD and bipolar 2. Brutal and compulsive honesty is a huge symptom, and though we have been working on this problem for much of our marriage, it still rears its head once in a while. My husband's mental health problems are a massive burden on him, and of course I support him in his healing. However, his untreated mental health problems have also wreaked havoc over our relationship, and made it really difficult for me, as well. Back to the question I asked him that caused the downfall of the last 8 months of my life. He told me no. He told me he liked her better. He told me she was thinner. He told me she didn't have stretch marks, she's never had a baby. He told me she gets ready every day and does her makeup. I don't. This hurt terribly, so I asked more questions, yet again seeking more reassurance. I know you'll think that's dumb, and in hindsight, so do I. But this was also shocking. Never in our marriage has he spoken about my body this brutally. He's never made a single negative comment about my appearance whatsoever. This came as a complete shock, and I was hoping I just misunderstood. I wasn't expecting what came next. He had an absolute meltdown, confessing to me every mean and dark thought he had ever had about me and our marriage. He told me he regrets marrying me. He thinks about leaving. He thinks I am less attractive than most women. He's not proud to be with me. Liked me better before I had children. Thinks he can do better, and he settled. He compares me to every woman he sees and routinely finds that the other woman is better, and so much more. From this space, I'm sure it sounds like he said this all out of spite with some harsh tone of voice, just trying to hurt me any way he can. In reality, he was weeping and drowning in shame. He thought confessing these things to me would help, and claims he had no idea I'd be as destroyed as I am. This confuses me to this day, but 2 therapists have explained that this can happen with bipolar, as sometimes the internal world can be so extremely painful that the external world feels out of touch at times. And that's what my husband described this as. I don't know how relevant this information is, but I think it's worth saying. I don't think he was wrong when he was saying all of that. I was overweight by a significant amount, and drowning in child rearing, breastfeeding, housework, and postpartum depression. When he spoke this to me, I had already been on a somewhat new weight loss journey and had already lost 20 pounds. Since then, I've lost 50 more, 70 total, and I am now at a healthy weight, and body fat percentage is within the athletic range as I've picked up running to cope with all this stress. I've also made a lot of changes to my appearances just by doing my hair and makeup every day, showering daily, and dressing cute for the day. I have been feeling more confident and more able to love myself in these ways as I watch my hard work pay off. This has led to me receiving a lot of male attention for my appearances more recently, sometimes when my husband is with me even. It has been over 8 months since that horrific day. It has been a struggle. We are both in individual counseling and marriage counseling weekly, spending a fortune and hours upon hours of our time on healing. We're both taking meds at this point for mental health. We're both reading endless self-help books, talking with mentors, absolutely drenching our lives with healing because our marriage is that important to both of us. My husband has been on a mission to learn more about why he had this previously mentioned emotional affair. He is uncovering some unhealed childhood wounds and unmet needs. In addition to seeing a psych and a therapist, he's in a men's support group, and has weekly calls with a mentor just to try to work through some of this mess. He's doing a lot of work on these issues. In the past 8 months, my husband has gone from claiming he's not proud to be with me because I'm not very attractive to now claiming I'm the most beautiful woman, and he married way up. He sees the male attention, and can be somewhat protective in the moment and give a glare or whatever. But then when we get home later, he tells me he knows how pretty I am and isn't too bothered by others telling me so because he knows I'm his. He showers me in constant compliments these days, brings me home flowers here or there, random iced coffees on his lunch break, shows up to marriage counseling with pen and pad and reviews his notes throughout the week, takes me for date night weekly, sends me off for a surprise afternoon shopping break from the kids randomly from time to time, texts and calls me throughout the day, and just pours effort into our marriage. When we fight or I get triggered, he just listens and apologizes and tries to comfort me, even when I say the most ridiculous and mean stuff. Of course, sometimes he messes up and says things that offend me, and he quickly takes responsibility. He's made a lot of changes since 5 years ago, and many changes since 8 months ago as well. But then there's me. I have been a disaster ever since that day. I am so hot and cold. I toggle between being certain I'm hideous and unlovable and being certain I'm loved and safe. I find myself frantic with anxiety, always waiting on the other shoe to drop. I will randomly just feel like he's cheating on me or feel like he's hiding something. and it will eat me up until I talk with him about it, and he hands me all his devices, and I look through them all. I'm constantly mirror checking, certainly have body dysmorphia. And although I've lost the vast majority of the weight in a healthy way, I've teetered at times on the edge of an eating disorder. I am struggling to believe a positive word he says and feeling so sure he's going to flip any second now and break me down with his words. We just had such a close marriage, and to find out that not only did he have this inappropriate relationship with this woman, but he also willingly let himself resent me so much for just struggling on my hardest days. I completely get needing to express to your partner that you want them to take better care of themselves, and I'm certain that conversation has to be difficult no matter how well it's handled. But I feel like I was really beaten down in a way I did not deserve. And now I'm really struggling to trust that we are okay now and we can leave it in the past. How do I stop comparing myself to every other woman we walk by? How can I trust that he's not still just resenting me for my appearances? How do I believe a single kind word he says? How do I forgive him for that disaster, knowing we both walked away with so much that we needed in the end anyway? And how do I stop believing I am married to someone who doesn't love me? 7th story. I just need someone, anyone to talk to. It's been a year since she broke off our 7-year relationship. Back then I always had my suspicions about this one guy that was always around her, but never had solid proof. Only had inklings and traces to go on with through their social media. It was driving me insane and delusional. Barely eating, crying myself to sleep, waking up to an intense panic, not wanting to go to work and feeling anxious while at work. I tried my hardest to keep it together. But not even a month after she broke up with me, I saw the final nail to the coffin. From his social media account, which was of a photo of them together, all smiles, with hearts as caption. I broke down, really fucking hard. Saying I was hurt is just putting it delicately. I was crushed, obliterated to the core. I was thrown into a spiral. I was already at a hard place in my life, and just as I couldn't think it would get any worse, it did. An overview. For the most part of being together we were long distance. I was not the perfect partner, I'll admit. I'm only human, I have my moments of imperfection. But I could wholeheartedly say, with all my pride, that I was not abusive towards her mentally, emotionally, and physically, even during the brief times we were physically around each other. I loved and supported her in ways that I could, from beginning to end. And so did she towards me, until the few months or weeks before the breakup, where she has become unreasonable and confusing. But apparently all of it was not enough. We were not enough. I was not enough. My loyalty and respect for her, despite the distance, was not enough. Since then, I've been trying and doing my best for myself, maintained no contact, but there were a few times where I saw their social media, deliberately and accidentally, but now actively stays off as it was setting me back even if I get the itch to snoop. Doing home workouts. Kinda getting frustrated with not seeing obvious results, but there's been some minor improvements. Now I'm just starting to get good with how it does help me mentally, and reconnected with old friends. I've been on this sub and a few others for quite some time, learning as I go, to figure out how and why they did it, where was I wrong or lacking, to cope. Strongly following karma justice posts to make me feel better. Even subbed to some red pill Andrew Tate Matthew Hussey Sadia Khan contents just to keep up my morale and expand my knowledge. Since the blindsiding breakup and betrayal, I've talked to a few of my closest friends and family about it. But there was only one that understood, as that person was also cheated on. As much as I'd like to talk to them about it more, I couldn't, since I get the feeling that they may be getting fatigued with the topic. Only a few understand that this kind of pain is something else. It's not something you can pop a pill for and lose over a good night's sleep. I woke up this morning having dreamed of her again and leaving me again. But I consciously feel so strongly now that this can't and shouldn't be happening to me day by day. I guess I just want some people to talk to about it, get advice, or something. Really can't get a counselor or therapist right now due to some personal circumstance. I want to get her out of my head. I want to get rid of the pain. I know that it will take some time to heal, but still, anyone as long as they have the patience and understanding. Some of my friends just don't get it and I just can't bring myself to bother their daily lives about it. Or maybe just some advice to have them out mentally, or if will they have their comeuppance due to their shitty life choices, or whatnot. So thanks if y'all have read this far. My love and support to everyone.